This is Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear. But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's going to be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race recap show for Season 4, Episode 6, titled Float Your Boat. My name's Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one cruisy co-host. First from the podcast pod is my co-pilot. Please say...
It's because you barely fit in the boat.
To Taylor the Latte Boy. Taylor the Latte Boy, what a coincidence. We are actually taping this show early.
We are. Bonjour, lady, by the way.
Yeah, bonjour, literally. Bon voyage. Bon voyage, ladies. You're going on a cruise on Friday, this coming Friday.
Yeah.
We usually tape on Friday night, but we're doing it on a Monday.
Yeah.
And so what an appropriate episode for us to
go out on it. Well, not go out on, but I mean to work on this week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's just a little 3-nighter out to the Bahamas. So
it's 3 nights. That means you come back Monday morning?
Come back Monday morning, yes.
Oh, so it's 2 full days.
2 full yes. That we leave Friday. The ship leaves around 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And then we have Saturday, we are in Nassau. And then Sunday, we are in Castaway Cay, which is Disney's private island in the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. And then we come home Monday morning.
That's interesting. I think I'd much rather do that. Here in Southern California, the cruises, their 3-day cruises, go to something called the Mexican Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, I would never want to go to that. I live in the Mexican Riviera. Why would I want to go on? And what's funny is my parents always, they've gone on. Okay. My parents love cruises. I've never been on a cruise. Okay. Just so you know.
I think you would have a lot of fun on a cruise.
Until next
People
year.
Watching alone, you would have fun on a cruise.
Well, you'll see next year when I'm on that cruise with you. Anyway. What's funny is Taylor, in a private conversation, said, it's a good thing you don't know when we're leaving or anything like that. And I go, bitch, you guys drop little clues on your show all the time.
Oh, no. She's quite aware of that. And there are times that I think to myself, note to self, edit that out.
Yeah. Because he'll say the name of the boat they're going to be on. So even though I don't know the exact day, I just got to go, where is this boat in September?
Right.
So, yeah. It is not, I don't think this is hard information to get at all.
I think at the very least, we're going to be leaving the port and you're going to be coming out on a jet ski like Mariah Carey in the Honey video.
No, I already told you. I am not going to tell you just one day, maybe the first night. I don't know. So how does this, because you've been on a lot of Disney cruises and I imagine they're all pretty much the same. Maybe each boat is different, but in terms of what you can do on it, but like, the structure of what happens on these trips is probably very similar.
Yes.
So what happens the
old
first
hat
night?
At this now.
Yeah.
The first night is this is very different because of COVID from what it usually is. But the first thing is you get on the ship, you wander around, they eventually let you in your room. Mm-hmm. They bring you your luggage, you unpack or whatever, and then you can just kind of walk around and do whatever until 5 o'clock, and 5 o'clock is the sail away party. And then that is where they have all the characters come out on the top deck and they play all sorts of songs. And they try to get everybody pumped up, and then they do the countdown. And once you get to 0, they play the horns, and they usually play like When You Wish Upon a Star or something over the horns, and everybody yells, and then the ship leaves.
Cry.
I don't cry. I don't cry at that. I have cried on a cruise, but I don't cry at that. my husband and my best friend Taffy, they both cry. So on Friday, I am cruising with Taffy, and she will definitely cry because she has been a woman on the verge for the last 20 months wanting to get on a cruise ship. We taped a show on Sunday, and she was like, she snorted cocaine before we started taping. She was so excited talking about the cruise, and she just can't wait. So after the ship leaves, you get dressed for either a show and then dinner, or then dinner and a show, because they split everybody up.
Okay.
And then after that, then you kind of do whatever you want. There's nightclubs, there's entertainment, you can just kind of wander around. There's all sorts of stuff.
Okay. So I can already know what's going to happen. It's going to be the sail away party. What's it called again? The cast off party or what?
Yeah, it's like cast off party or something like that.
And you're going to be hanging out with your Mai Tai in your hand, your sugar-free Mai Tai in your hand or whatever, right? And they're going to go 3, 2, 1. And then everyone's going to be, wait, I'm going to even play the music, right? So, so it's going to be, and then like Taffy's going to be crying. They're going to be playing When You Wish Upon a Star, right? Mm-hmm. And all the cast members are going to be, the characters are going to be dancing, on the deck. And then you're then the music, the cruise music's going to come on, mm-hmm. and you're going to be standing there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5.
Mascara's be raining down your face. And you're going to be like, it's like looking around the ship, right? And then you're going to be like, oh, look, there's Donald and Captain Hook. And you're like,
come on, let's ride to the liquor store.
Is that?
The corner. The
No.
boys say they want some gin and juice, but they don't wanna.
Is that Joe and Lori dancing with Winnie the Pooh and one of the 3 little pigs?
Why are there 2 Ursulas?
Why is Joe pretend butt fucking Smee?
Oh, there's security. There they go. Bye, guys. Have fun in the brig.
Now, I'm telling you this right now. When this happens, can I have a question here? I am never going to approach. Like the therapists have that thing where, like, if you see your client in public, you won't go up to them unless they go up to you.
Right.
It's going to be the same thing here, where Lori and I are not going to go up to you guys unless you approach us. So my question to you is, do you tell Taffy and Rodan? Is Rodan going?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you tell Taffy and Rodan?
Well, if they see you...
No, well, here's the deal. I don't think Taffy and Rodan have seen me enough that they would clock me if they saw me there.
Rodan has never met you.
Exactly.
So do I say, where I go, or do I just keep my mouth shut and just wait for this, so that I'm a nervous fucking wreck the entire 4 days?
No, but I'm telling you, we will never say, we will pretend like you guys aren't there. We won't do any jokes. We will be existing on the same ship.
I feel like at some point I'd have to come up to you to talk to you, and then it would be this whole Mrs. Doubtfire where I'm running between the 2 groups, trying to keep everybody away from each other. If you showed
what's
up...
funny is, I don't think Rodan would care. So it could be you and Rodan come and find me.
Uh-huh. Taffy would be excited to see you. Taffy would be... Taffy would act like she was excited to see you.
I'll tell you what. Let's say, how long is this cruise that you're doing?
This one or the one in
the one I'm going on.
It's a 4-night, I think.
Okay, so on that 4-nighter, I think you lied right now because you don't want me to track it down. But on that 4-nighter, I think if between the 3rd and 4th night, if you then tell Taffy, I think she will be excited because then she will have gotten her fun in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, okay, the last night with Joe Betance, it's fine.
She will have gotten her fun in. Now it's time for Joe to get his fun in.
No, but see, once again, I was talking about, there was a lot of nerves rattled at Pride 48 when Lori and I decided to do a tribute to Dubious Intent, which is Daniel Adams' show.
Yes.
And there were people who thought I was going to do some major awful things to piss off Daniel and Adam and disrespect Pride 48 and stir shit, right? Mm-hmm. And what Lori and I did was we landed up just doing a very normal, run-of-the-mill, as if two people just took over Dubious Intent, right?
Right.
And I was telling, and I go, give me credit as a shit stirrer, right? The shit stirring wasn't the show. The shit stirring was the anticipation leading up to the show, announcing the show and watching everybody lose their fucking minds. That is the shit stirring. The show itself, that's the way you stir the shit is you don't do anything. You know, you literally give them a boring show.
You keep everybody where they hold their breath for that 55 minutes or whatever, waiting for you to eventually go, and fuck you, fill in the blank.
Yeah. And so it's the same thing here is, even though she won't know I'm going to be there, the shit stirring would be more your nerves the entire time. Even though I'm telling you right now to your face, I will do nothing. I will be in, even if you do introduce me, I will be perfectly, almost to the point, to be honest with you, the real trick would be, I would be so lovely and charming that they'd be like, wow, why does Taylor talk so much shit on Joe? Because he's so perfectly lovely and nice.
I don't talk shit about you.
Okay, which is a great transition. So the other day, I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm listening to this pod as my co-pilot, having a good time. And even earlier in the show, you made a joke about how Rodan would replace you on Drag Race Recap and blibbity blobbity blue, right?
Yeah.
And then, what's funny is because Rodan says, Rodan clearly does not listen to our show because even though he's been on the show multiple times, like 2 or 3 times. And they were very long episodes, so long we had to split them in 2, right?
Oh God, that's right. We did, didn't we?
Yeah, because they were so long, right? He was like, oh, Joe wouldn't like me as a co-host. I have thoughts. I'm like,
I think that was more a read at me than you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I took it as like, I have negative thoughts and Joe wouldn't like that.
No, I think that was just maybe that he would try to challenge you, and I think that he thinks that I don't challenge you. I don't know. I wouldn't take that personally. But anyway, go ahead.
I never took it personally. I thought it was like, no, I didn't take it personally at all because my interpretation was that he thought that we're basically, yes, mama, the house down boots, and we're clearly not.
I can't even get him to listen to my show that he's on.
Oh, yeah. I don't, people, again, Pride 48 people have come up to me or something and they'll go like, I don't pay for your show or I don't listen to your show because it's commercial or I don't know, whatever reason, right? I'm like, okay, like, I need thousands of listeners because Gary in Portland doesn't listen to my show. It's not going to affect nothing, right? I need thousands. Okay,
I think if anybody would listen to your show, I think Gary in Portland would.
I'm not even being funny. And this is a real thing I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even joking. The second Patreon gives me the ability to give free subscriptions, it's going to be you, Lori, all the regs,
Yeah.
My boyfriend, the friends and family, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not being funny. 100% I will give one to Gary in Portland. I would love for Gary in Portland, and I'm not trying to steal him from Pride 48. He could, he has the time. He could do Pride 48 and Afterthought Media, you know?
I'm sure if there's I'm sure he listens to Pride 48 and like the Corbin Fisher cast or all those like things like that. If Sean Cody has a podcast, he listens to it. I am sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, so he would like the show I want to do with NatPat90, my OnlyFriends show where we review OnlyFans, pages. Did you want to be a guest on that?
No, but I would do that. I would help out with that occasionally.
No, that's not a jerking off joke, is it?
No. Ew, no.
Okay.
Anyway, so getting back to my
so Gary in Portland is Gary in Portland is my ISO for Afterthought Media. Can you imagine Gary calling every person? And I know I'm going to I miss stealing Howard Stern's mom bit here, but God, Gary singing happy birthday to everybody at Afterthought would be so fantastic. Happy birthday, humble pie.
Remember before when you were asking why you don't think Pride 48 likes you? This is why.
I want Brenda Boo to come to Afterthought and pick up because she deleted and got rid of Not Quite a Cat Lady. I should reach out to her. This week, the queens get soaked in a... The queens get soaked in a spring break wet t-shirt contest and design custom boats to walk the runway in the Hope Floats Pride Parade. In the end, Willem is named the winner of the challenge, while Jiggly Caliente and Milan are placed in the bottom two after the lip sync. Jiggly Caliente is told Shantae, you stay, while Milan is asked to sashay away. Taylor, the latte boy, named 2 things you liked about the episode and 1 thing you did not.
This was sort of an un-episode for me. It didn't really do anything to push the narrative, and it was just sort of a mini challenge, a maxi challenge, some outfits, and a lip sync. There wasn't really anything that really kind of stood out as great. I have torn feelings about the mini challenge because I thought on the one hand it was fun, but on the other hand it was gross. And I like the idea of there being a piece for education, specifically when they talked about Stonewall. So, but I feel like the way they did it was, I don't know. I just didn't like necessarily the way they did it. The thing I did not like was I did not like the maxi challenge. I thought the idea of the boats was stupid. It felt very forced. It felt very Alan Chuck.travel or giving us a cruise as one of the...
that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
You're solving... I'm like, why did they do a boat? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That seems to be what I think it is. So they had to do something, which I can think of other things they could have done that would have made a ton more sense.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It was like, it was very awkward. You know what's weird is there are certain seasons I just don't remember that well, right? And there's something about the season because I literally in the first half of this year covered season 3 with Adam Salandra.
Right.
And I think I remember just as much as before I went into season 3, right? Like I remember very little. There are landmark episodes that I remember, like the space one and the exercise one and the one where, well, I only remember that Manila lip synced against Delta, with MacArthur Park and of course the American flag, the, BAM episode, like certain key episodes. But other than that, like I'm sure if you brought it up, I'd go, oh yeah, that episode. And I feel the same thing is happening with this season. Where it's like, I barely remember these episodes and they're running by me. But the thing with this episode is I distinctly remember there was a boat challenge and I remember Willem winning because she had pictures of her face all over it. That's all I remembered about it.
Right.
But when I watched the episode, I'm like, why do I remember this episode? Like,
yeah.
There's so nothing that happens. There's nothing remarkable about this episode at all. Maybe I just remember because it's a boat?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that we haven't really seen them do before or since.
Yeah.
With the boat
I
thing.
will say the mistake that I did make, I did think until today, well, not a little bit before today, that this was the episode where Willem got called out and sent home. Which it clearly wasn't.
Right.
But that was the mistake I made. But I remember that Willem won the episode she gets sent home. So I guess I assumed it was this one, but it wasn't. 2 things I liked about the episode. It's, you know what? I'll say this. I rarely notice how good RuPaul looks, and I remember clocking her makeup is flawless.
Yes.
So that was a good thing. Which is funny because it sounds like I'm shading the episode and that.
It's not. It wasn't a good or bad episode. It was just sort of an episode.
Yeah. Because I don't even really have any negative. I mean, the negative thing I have to say has nothing to do with the production of the episode. It's like, oh, Milan with the fucking wig and taking it off and everything.
It was a potato chip of an episode.
I like potato chips.
Well, I like potato chips too, and we like Drag Race. You couldn't tell from the last 5 minutes, but we like this show. But you don't remember potato chips. Is there
a snack food that you don't like? I have one that I specifically, and I've tried many times over the years to like, and I just can't.
Let's see. Is a particular snack food. So we're not looking at something sweet per se, but something that would be like a savory. I don't like anything with jalapeno flavoring.
How are you married to a Latino? Even he is Cuban, and Cubans don't really like spicy food. But how are you?
Yeah. No, just anything that's like that jalapeno. That's not a thing for me. Or actually, no. Or... I take that back. It is sour cream and onion, like sour cream and no. I've even got a better one because my husband eats them all the time, and I think they're gross. And we've gotten in fights when we've gone on road trips, and he grabs them and brings them in the car and opens the bag in the car. Funyuns are gross.
Okay, you just reminded me of two things now. Okay, the first thing I was going to mention, I literally gag. Literally gag. It can be any flavor, whatever. It doesn't matter. Literally gag on corn nuts. Okay. They gross me
I've only
out.
had corn nuts like twice in my life.
I've tried them from childhood to like fairly recently. Cause I was like, maybe I was a child and I didn't get it, and I'll try. Blech. Like, no, right? And it just reminded me, and I know this is a really controversial one because this, I think, is the Diet Coke of this chip. And what I mean is, I think Diet Coke might even be more popular than Coke, right? Isn't that something weird like that?
I think so.
I cannot stand, and the funny thing reminded me of it, because even the smell bothers me. I kind of hate the smell, right? Cool Ranch Doritos.
I love Cool Ranch Doritos.
Hate them. Which is funny because a regular original flavor bag of Doritos, I cannot have them in the house for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is they won't survive. And two is because they won't survive. I cannot have Doritos in the house. I will literally empty the bag, eat it. Not even think twice.
Do you have the sweet chili Doritos there by you? They come in a purple bag.
I'm sure they do. I've never tried the other flavors, and I wish I could, because I always wanted to try the one called Tacos at Midnight and all that stuff, and I never tried anyway, because I love the original so much. There might be a flavor that I like more.
You know what you like, but I know the sweet chili ones. The Cool Ranch Doritos, that is where my husband and I, get in fist fights over the bag. But the sweet chili ones, he doesn't like those, so then I get a bag all to myself. And they are, after a while, they do definitely have some heat to them, but you have to eat a bunch of them to get there.
Is that their version of like Takis?
I've never had a Taki, so I don't know.
Oh God, I love Takis. Takis are up there with Doritos for me.
Okay,
they can't be in the house. Well, those can be in the house because, unlike a Dorito, they actually start to hurt. My jaw starts to hurt, and so I just have to stop. That's probably one of the good things about them. But now I want Doritos. All right. After Kenya Michaels' elimination, the Queens point out Milan has sent home both Puerto Rican girls. Milan worries her androgynous drag style isn't coming across, and Willem promises his tears from last week were genuine. Next, RuPaul entered the workroom and announced this week's mini challenge. The girls will style Glamazon t-shirts and breastplates to compete in a spring break. Why can't I get that? Wet t-shirt contest. After getting hosed down by the pit crew, Fifi loses her tits and wig while Willem is named the winner of the mini challenge. Taylor the Latte Boy, let's talk about all things that happened here, whatever notes you have after Kenya's elimination, the mini challenge. What are your thoughts? Give them to us right now.
Well, I thought the idea of Milan saying my drag is misunderstood, it felt like that was sort of a shade edit, but as we've talked about, drag has evolved over the last 10 years since the show, 9-10 years, whatever it is, since the show has been on, and there is part of me that thinks maybe Milan was slightly misunderstood. But I also get the conversation like where I feel like Willem was talking about the whole drag king, drag queen. You know, you kind of look like a drag king, which I don't necessarily agree with Willem because of the makeup style that Milan was doing. But what are your thoughts on that statement? My drag was misunderstood.
Yeah, so it's funny. I even wrote in here, Willem defending the judges reading Milan's looks. Now, I don't listen to this race chaser, right? So my question to you, I know you do, did Willem address any of this, or do you remember?
I do not remember, honestly. That was on quite a while ago. I probably could go back and listen to their season 4, but I kind of don't want to know the stuff that Willem has to say about that.
But here's my question, and this actually is important to me. Is Willem cringy about any of his behavior, or is he just thinks he's super rad? In general, I think that he has moments of, they're often brief, but there are moments of humility on Race Chaser. But for the most part, I think she thinks she's super rad.
I'm
talking in terms of this season, though, when they were covering it.
Oh, season 4. Oh, yeah, no, she thinks she's super rad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see, like, cringing at parts of it. And have they done season 5 that has Alaska cringed at that?
Yeah, they've done season 5 where Alaska comes off as much more aware of things that she could have done differently, and the whole she definitely expresses some regrets with some of that stuff. I think they're just finishing season 6 now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, like, yeah, it is. What's funny though is I would love to know what my position was then. I don't know. I imagine even myself that I was very like, yeah, bitch, you got to wear a dress, you know. Because I don't remember what my position was, but I think at that time I don't remember having any kind of opposing thoughts to Drag Race, or I think I generally bought into what the editors told me. So I think we all evolved. But it's acknowledging that evolution. I had a question for you, and maybe again, unfortunately, everybody, Taylor and I were operating under the assumption that Untucked would be available this season.
Yeah.
And then after episode 1, they just wiped it away. And we can't even buy it, you said, right?
Right. It's not even available on iTunes.
Which is funny, because you said that every season's available for purchase except for season 4.
Right. Oh, that's on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, every season is available except season 4.
Oh, okay. But which, you know, there's something about season 4, because do you remember, right when we started Patreon, I didn't pay Taylor was the only host. I didn't pay Taylor. But I did buy you at the end of the season all the seasons. And didn't we run into a problem where like season 4 wasn't available for a while? Like, remember?
I think so.
You could buy them all except for season 4. So there's something there. I don't know what it is.
Well, I don't get why Untucked isn't, because I mean, I can understand season 4 if there was a music rights thing, especially considering some of the music that they used this season.
Yeah.
But Untucked, it's an odd, you know, or at the very least, if there was like one episode where somebody said something that they took that one down, but for some reason it's not there. And I feel like we're at a disservice, because when you think back on season 4, the stuff that I remember is Untucked.
Yeah.
The fights in Untucked.
Yeah, you're right. So we'll find a way. Nami, please come home. Nami, we want you back, baby. So here's the thing I have a question about. Maybe it's something we saw in Untucked. But there's, you know, when they walk in, there's a lot of talk about Fifi's so sad about Kenya going home. And he's like, I lost my best friend. I'm like, they were best friends?
Yeah, that narrative didn't necessarily play in the show.
Yeah, it was super, super weird. And I was just like, when did that happen? What about the mini challenge? Do you have any thoughts on that?
The mini challenge is one of those examples of something that you would never see on a new season. There's no way they would do something like that, which I also think makes me oddly sad because this felt to some degree, like, one of the things that drag is supposed to be, where it's supposed to be kind of like a fuck you to society. And this example of this, of where we're going to act like the crazy drunk girls in the wet t-shirt contest is, and we're going to kind of make fun of them and make fun of spring breakers in general, feels like a fuck you. Like, I don't think anybody was trying to be, there seemed to be very tongue in cheek with all of the sexiness of the mini challenge with everybody. And but on the one hand, it is kind of problematic, but I think that it is nowadays, it would be looked at as problematic through the lens that a lot of people watch Drag Race, or just kind of look at society or pop culture as a whole. Whereas I feel like back then it was just sort of something fun, and nobody really thought about the misogyny and all of that kind of stuff.
That's so interesting, because I'm not saying you're wrong on anything. The only thing I take issue with, I think they would still do this challenge. Maybe some slight modifications, but I could still see them doing this challenge. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Do you think?
Yeah, what would you think they would have a problem with?
I think just the idea of the big boobs and the bouncing around and all of the guys screaming and yelling, that I think it would be considered objectifying, the idea of objectifying women. And, I just think that in today's day and age, as we've talked about, especially with the recent seasons, people watch this show to be offended. Whereas I don't think that necessarily happened in seasons 3, 4, 5, all that sort of stuff. And I think that is why we have gotten the very milquetoast, whitewashed mini challenges that we've gotten over the last several years.
Now, maybe Rodan will have a different opinion here, but didn't we just see Jada Sophia in All-Star 6 win a challenge by spinning her boobs in the variety show?
But yes, but the boobs weren't they like long? Or they were just
regular boobs? Maybe they were. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I don't know. But maybe I'm wrong. But it just, you wouldn't normally see people doing what Yara Sofia was doing. Whereas we all watched MTV in the 80s and the 90s, and they always had shit like this on there.
I think what I would say, it's so funny. I think I would kind of share your opinion, but I would flip it. I don't think the producers would be afraid to do it. I think the girls now would be afraid to go all in.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
For a bunch of reasons. Maybe for those reasons you said, because they think about the social media consequences afterwards, or because I'm thinking about someone like Crystal Versace, let's say, who's currently on Drag Race UK Season 3, wouldn't want to look ugly. You know? Which you look kind of messy when you're doing this. And I don't think she would like that. Here's a weird comment I want to say, and then we're going to go to break, is Jiggly makes a joke about how Chad looks like a MILF. And he goes, Chad, it's forever 21, not forever 41, or something along those lines. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, because Chad is like 41 when they're making this. And so, like, Chad's just looking like Chad in a bikini.
Right. No, I agree.
Would make sense if it was,
but that's an example of the shade that you would never hear a girl say something like that now, because it would come off as ageist.
Yeah. Well, you're going back to Crystal Versace. There was a little bit of, I wouldn't say hot water there, but there were hurt feelings because she made a somewhat, it was gross because she said it, but like whatever joke about Victoria Scone's being fat.
Yeah.
Made a fat joke about Victoria Scone, and there was all this. All right, well, whatever. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we will finish the rest of the show, because the show, nothing happens. We'll be back.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Dear Colgate, I love that you love that I love being at home. You even let me whiten my teeth from home. Because you know how I feel about getting up from my cloud couch. The Colgate Optic White LED Kit gives professional-level results in just 10 minutes a day for 10 days when used as directed. And that's why, Colgate, I want you to meet my parents. Because ever since meeting you, I've been living life to the brightest. Colgate Optic White. Find it at all major retailers.
Look, Bumble knows you're exhausted by dating. All the, must not take yourself too seriously, and 6'1" since that matters. And what do I even say other than, hey? Well, that's why they're introducing an all-new Bumble, with exciting features to make compatibility easier, starting the chat better, and dating safer. They've changed, so you don't have to. Download the new Bumble now.
Yeah! All right. After the mini challenge, RuPaul announces this week's main challenge. The queens will be walking in the Hope Floats Pride Parade. The girls need to create a fashion-forward outfit and a boat. That sends a positive message. Willem assigns colors randomly, and they are as follows. Willem chose blue for himself, but then he closed his eyes and then reached and just handed them back to him behind his back to everyone else. So Jiggly Caliente got orange, Fifi O'Hara got violet, Dita Ritz got red, Latrice Royale got turquoise, Chad Michaels got pink, Milan got yellow, and Sharon Needles got green. In the workroom, Jiggly hates the color orange and struggles to create a concept. Willem immediately covers her boat in stickers of her own face, and the girls take us to class with a discussion about Stonewall. Taylor, your thoughts on everything that happened in the workroom up to the table visits, and also the idea of this maxi challenge and all that nonsense.
Well, the maxi challenge idea is stupid, as we talked about before. It's definitely shoehorned into the idea of Pride. I would have rather seen them just work on outfits where they were given a color and then had to work within that. Maybe create something new using fabrics and using stuff, but not necessarily having it where they're in a boat. It just was dumb. The idea of Willem picking the color she wanted and then immediately and saying this, I feel like this is the only way to be fair, I thought was a very good way to hand out colors. Yeah. So that way there is no way that anybody could accuse shade. There is no way that, anybody could be seen as a favorite or, being picking favorites, anything like that. I thought that was a great way to do that. So, and I was thinking that would be really great. And then I could imagine myself doing that, but then forgetting to pick my own color first. Oh, and then
that happened, didn't it?
That happened with Robbie Turner.
Yes.
On season 8. Yeah. I would do something stupid like that. God,
I wonder, do you think I could get her back?
That would Robbie Turner?
Yeah, imagine if I was able to bring Robbie Turner back for an episode of the show.
Work on it. Workshop it.
I would have to do. I think I have to do a what are those things called again? Where you raise money?
Fundraiser.
Yeah, I have to do like a GoFundMe.
Okay.
To money that she couldn't even she couldn't deny it. She couldn't. I can't turn down. That money. I'm working at the local Publix. And
yeah. So as far as the conversation about Stonewall goes, I thought that there was interesting the way that they talked about it, and particularly talked about the drag queens and the transgender folks that really were sort of the first ones that started the war on culture, as far as throwing the first proverbial brick. And talking a little bit about what it was like to be the one fact about you had to have on 3 items that were 3 clothing items that were normally assigned to a person of your biological gender. I don't remember them talking about that when I watched the show the first time, but I thought that was a fascinating fact.
But you know what's so funny they didn't mention, and I've read about this before, is as we know, at that time, the gay bars were owned by the mob. And Stonewall was specifically owned by the mob. And the mob itself would be the ones to tip off the police because they could use that information to blackmail these closeted queens. So I think, it was a fucking really ridiculous, gross time. Thank you. But I'm glad that they made that movie where they made up a white person who's the one that actually...
Right. I did notice that there wasn't really anything talking about the fact that it was primarily people of color that really also started Stonewall. Yeah,
white people they're scaredy cats.
They're gross.
I like that Jiggly said that she's not good at being creative, and I was like, bitch, that has not changed. You are not good at being creative, and that is true. Have you said everything you want to say about the workroom stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, that section of it, absolutely.
Let's move on. During the table visits, Jiggly can't articulate a plan to Rue. Milan wants to do a flashback to the future, and Willem quotes RuPaul to RuPaul herself, telling her she's always been an inspiration. Any thoughts on the table visits? A lot going on there.
The idea of... I wish that Rue took the opportunity to talk specifically about what each of the colors of the flag represented. Mm-hmm. That this was another opportunity that they didn't really do, especially because we are used to, up until recently, they just changed the pride flag, but it was for a long time just the 6 colors. And as we saw here, there were additional colors in that first one. There was 8. And to have somebody where they could have said, now you have the orange flag, orange color, and that represented this on the flag. They didn't really take that opportunity. It was a missed opportunity.
That would have been a great opportunity to say, because actually Sharon's the only one that kind of did that. Yeah. And to say, not only did it stick with that color, but stick what the meaning of that color is.
Right. Right. So that seemed a little like a missed opportunity.
And Taylor, I know that you are a well-known gay pride historian, gay historian. In fact, you wrote the book when the Stonewall comes crashing down.
I did.
Taylor Latte Boy did. Yes.
Yeah.
And I see the screen on your glasses changing, but my question to you is, what do each of the colors stand for?
Well, that's an excellent question. That's an absolute excellent question.
Yeah.
And I think so often back to what that could possibly mean and the importance of what each of those colors mean. And you know what? I think I'm ready to share that.
Sure,
I am ready to share that.
Go ahead. We're ready to hear it.
Excellent. Okay. So the pink color on the original flag represented sex.
Oh,
and the red color represented life.
Okay.
Orange represented healing.
Oh.
Something we've just learned. Yellow represented the sun, which Milan did sort of talk about when she was presenting hers. So, but nobody else necessarily did that. Green, as we talked about with Sharon, mentioned that it represents nature. Turquoise represent art and magic. Blue.
Did someone say magic?
Okay. Blue for serenity, and purple for spirit.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I love when Rue was talking to Jiggly. And Rue's like, tell me about your boat. And Jiggly is clearly like me in 6th grade when I didn't do the homework, is like, yeah, it is. She's full on Kaiser Sosaring that shit. She's like, it's about an astronaut who dresses in red and is in a hotel room and standing next to a person. And you're like, you're making this up as you go, aren't you?
Right.
And that was very funny to me. I love RuPaul talking to Milan. And
I knew you were going to say this.
And Milan says, "Oh, I have other people design my dresses." And Rue comes for her, where I'm like, bitch, you couldn't sew a button, okay, on a dress. So A. B, little did she know, 10 years later, no one would walk down on a dress they created.
Right.
You know?
But this shows how out of touch Rue is with the real world. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, what are you going to say?
I thought it was going to be where she said, I think she said it to Milan, or she might have said it to Willem. I'm not sure which. She went, so the theme for this Pride Parade is Hope Floats. Tell me, what was your darkest hour?
I think, wasn't it Fifi?
It was Fifi. That's right. Because she told the story about a relationship with her father.
Yeah.
The only other note that I have about this section was Willem's positive self-talk that I thought was something that hopefully somebody out there who was struggling heard and used that for themselves, as far as the, nobody's applauding for me now. They just need to catch up kind of thing. Yeah. Treat yourself like a star. I think anytime you can say something like that, or you can believe something like that, it betters you as a human being.
All right. Very good. I did love a little button on this. When Rue was talking about who the judges were going to be, and they pretended to know who this girl from NCIS was. And Sharon made the joke like, oh, well, Willem was acted with her,
Right.
And Willem like, I did. And you're like, oh, God, So that was very funny. All right, back in the workroom, the queens have a discussion about performing at Pride. Jiggly and Willem, jokingly snipe at each other about their boat designs, and Willem sings an original song about how much he loves her boat. It's elimination day, and all the girls are in full drag and ready for the main stage, while Jiggly frantically finishes her Love You For You themed boat and declares it very Saint-Tropez. All right, Taylor, any thoughts on everything here in the workroom, the elimination day, all that jazz?
I think Willem running her mouth was very reminiscent of Tyra Sanchez for I think it was the bridal, where she was just sort of singing and being obnoxious, and it just it was shades of that, I thought. That's the only note that I have about that section.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of notes. I do have here, Fifi comes for Jiggly about what she's doing on the boat, and she's not wrong. Fifi is reading Jiggly for just lack of time management, creative skills. Also, there was a really interesting conversation. Again, I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but now knowing what we know now, where Willem is teasing Jiggly about gender stuff. And that was really, really crazy. So I don't know. I just thought it was a very strange conversation about gender. Now knowing that we know that Jiggly is transgender. And
I noticed that. I picked up on that as something during the lip sync, that I thought it was interesting that she got to lip sync to Born This Way. I thought it was had more meaning that we didn't know until many, many years later.
Well, what's so fun, I guess we're going to talk about the lip sync now. I don't think it really matters with this episode. Is I was like, if Milan hadn't have done the stupid throwing the wig off thing 100 times, as annoying as it was, you could have read into it with the Born This Way stuff. I know they were making fun of her, and Dita Ritz going like, okay, we get it. You were born this way. But, it maybe could have worked. I'm also one of those people, don't take your fucking wig off and your clothes off. I don't even get what that means, but I guess it would make more sense with this song. I don't know. All right, Taylor. Well, it's time for the looks. Yeah, the looks. Now, this is a game we play to see if you got the right answer. Now, I will say, you have been very, very good. That was the episode before last. You got every single one right.
Yes. And then last time I got 2 wrong.
Yeah. So you're doing pretty well. Lori would be very jealous. All right. Who's first up on your list here?
All right. So first up on our list that we are following the looks from RuPaul's Drag Race.fandom.com is Chad Michaels, who was wearing pink. and she is wearing what looks to be sort of like a showgirl outfit that has like a zebra print of varying shades of pink, and she has decorated her boat to match the outfit. I thought that the execution on this was flawless. I thought she looked great in it, and this is a win for me. Okay, now the next one up is Dita Ritz wearing red. Dita is wearing a harem pant and has on a t-shirt with some geometric heart prints on it. She has decorated her boat with fringe, and it looks like some cray paper. Here's the thing with this. I feel like if they were going to do, and this kind of talks back to the Alan Chuck Doc travel thing. First of all, she's beautiful. Dita looks beautiful, like the wig and the makeup and everything flawless. The outfit, I think, should have not gotten clocked as much as it was, because this looks like something somebody would wear going on a cruise ship. There is, if they had done this to where the outfit had to be cruise inspired, I know they did the one in season 7 where what you would wear on an airplane. They could have done something where something you would wear on a ship, and I could see Dita walking on a cruise ship wearing something similar to this. So I don't think she should have gotten the grief that she got for this outfit. So out of respect and support for Dita, I am giving this a plus. Again, she looks beautiful. I'm giving this look a plus.
Yeah, it's a rare moment where the judge weighs in. I was torn on this one because I actually do like the way she looks. I don't like the boat.
Okay, well, I'm looking more at the outfit than the boat.
Okay, then I'm going to go with this.
All right, thank you. All right, next up is Jiggly Caliente, who came out in a horrible boat that was orange. She's wearing orange, and she has on a very Saint-Tropez cape that she is wearing with a bathing suit on underneath. Did you also clock that she said Saint-Tropez several times, and it sounds like they just took the same clip of her saying that and using it like 3 or 4 times in the episode? Okay. Then it wasn't just me. You can't really see her. It's not flattering to her look. I like the wig. I like the bangs, but the look itself is not good. So this is a miss for me.
Just to hit on what you said before, they even do it within like a sentence of each other.
Yes, when she's doing the book where she's doing the boat where she says it's very Saint-Tropez, she says something else, and they say very Saint-Tropez, and it is clearly where it has been pulled. Like they needed an extra 2 seconds, so they just tack that on. It's weird.
All right.
Okay, so I got that right. Okay, all right. So next up is Latrice Royale, who is wearing turquoise, and she comes off very sort of Ursula inspired with the sort of, it looked like octopus tentacles in her hair. Her face is beaded, including her lips, and the outfit itself. I mean, you can't really see a lot of it, but I think that the look itself, I think it's a good look. I mean, I agree that the boots, we've seen the boots a couple of times now, but the look itself, there isn't anything wrong necessarily with what Latrice is wearing. There isn't necessarily anything great or avant-garde about it, but I think that the makeup and the attention to detail in the makeup deserves that this is a plus. Okay. All right. Next up is Milan, who comes out with a bright yellow afro and a dress that looks like it. I'm not sure what it was made out of, but it looked cheap, honestly. And the outfit, the boat itself was yellow, and she wrote things like the Milan invasion, but then hope in love on the sides of it and the back of it. And then I believe something like we will always remember or we will never forget or something on the back. It was an odd mixing of messages, but the dress itself was not a great dress. So this is a miss for me.
I also want to add that Jiggly boat was a mess, but we know why. Milan had all the time in the world, and I would say her boat is worse than Jiggly's.
Well, because she seemed to have
zero time on it.
There is nothing on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess, okay, well, actually, we'll talk about that when we talk about the judges' deliberation, because I have thoughts particularly about Milan and what they say to Milan. Okay, so next up is Fifi O'Hara, who comes out in purple. She comes out in a dress that says Believe, or a boat that says Believe. And she comes in a shiny catsuit with once the sleeve is off and sort of kind of like a dominatrix with straps and tall boots and all that kind of stuff. You can definitely see her leaning into her cosplay here. So in that regards, I like it. The thing I do not like about it is, and we went through a series of queens doing this for a couple of years where they wear the bright blue contacts. You know, another person that wore them a lot was Coco on season 5. So in that regards, I do not like that. But the outfit itself, she kind of was making a futuristic look, and the boat sort of looks futuristic. I am going to give this look A+.
All right. Very good.
Okay. So next up was Sharon Needles, who came out in a green dress. And as we talked about, she had said that her outfit was nature inspired. So the one sleeve is a snake. And she also even has a snake on her boat. And they kind of read her boat as looking messy, and it looked like it had been stuck underwater, was covered in algae. I think that's what kind of made the boat look cool, where it looks like it was a sunken boat, and there are even like flowers in the back of it, and everything about it I thought was good. Again, we are seeing yet another look from Sharon, where she's wearing a different type of wig and a different type of makeup, and I think that this is an excellent look from Sharon. Okay. And the last look is Willem, who comes out wearing a trench coat that is very similar to Carrie Bradshaw in the episode of Sex and the City where she falls on the runway. And then she is wearing I don't know which, I guess like a denim bathing suit underneath. Her boat is covered in stickers that she has with her face all over them. I think that Willem looks great here. The boat, I don't like the boat, but I thought that she looked really great in the outfit, and I thought that her hair looked good. The outfit, the bathing suit underneath was interesting. So in that regard, I'm going to give Willem A+.
Also, where did she get that thing for the front of the boat that's so intricate and blue?
She must have painted or spray painted that, because
like
at one point they show her where it's one of those things that you rest a wig on. Mm-hmm. That she was taking that and she was carving into the back of it so that she could put it as a masthead.
Oh, perfect. All right.
They showed her doing that at one point when they were doing the boat. So, okay.
All right.
And that's all the looks.
Those are the looks. All right. On the main stage, Willem is named the winner of the challenge, while Milan and Jiggly Caliente are placed in the bottom two, forcing them to duke it out in a lip-sync battle for their lives. The song, Born This Way by Lady Gaga. Milan bears all on stage, but as Jiggly Caliente is told Shantae you stay, while Milan is asked to sashay away. Taylor T. Latte Boy, any final thoughts on the episode? I think we talked about the lip sync, but if you want to go on more, that's fine. Any thoughts you didn't get out? What do you got?
I do. Well, one, we get yet another Billy B fat joke about Jiggly, which I think is just, he should be thankful he's not on these seasons of the show, the more current seasons of the show, because I think that he would never have lasted. The other thing that Billy B said that I thought was just gross was he was talking about Milan's boat and talked about, it's supposed to be about pride or whatever, but you put your name all over it. It offends me. Yeah. It sort of offends me. Yet Willem won for literally putting her face all over the sides of the boat.
Yes, and he tries to explain the difference, but it's still, you're just like, no, you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's basically, you're an asshole. The last thing was that some poor editing on the producer's part as far as the storyline of Willem versus Fifi, because you see, I even went back and rewound it. When they announced Willem as the winner for that split second, you see Fifi putting her arm up to like congratulate Willem. And then they immediately flash to where Fifi looks sullen and looks pissed that Willem won. Mm-hmm. So, we have since heard, I do remember, the one thing I remember Race Chaser is that they had Fifi on, and Fifi and Willem were like laughing and kikiing and all that kind of stuff, and just talking about some of the animosity was a little bit more embellished than what we were all led to believe all those years ago. And I think this is an example of that. And Willem has talked about when Milan ripped off all of her clothes. I remember her saying, Fifi and I looking at each other like, oh my God, like, what are you doing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that isn't something that you see girls who don't like each other doing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's watching it with an eye of a 10-year later eye. Those were just some interesting factoids that I
Thank you.
recognize.
That is really interesting. A lot of you hit a lot of my I don't know what I wish I would have put an example here. I said more problematic gender comments. What was that about? What could that have been about? I feel as Michelle said something about, boy this, girl that. I feel it had to do with Milan, maybe.
Possibly.
Who knows? And I do love that RuPaul said that they honored Marsha P. Johnson by doing this boat challenge. Which is actually really gross because they found Marsha P. Johnson floating in like the Hudson or something like that. So she could.
Did they wait? Did they really?
Yeah. When Marsha P. Johnson was found like floating, I'll look that up just to be sure. I don't want to spread misinformation, but I think when she died, I believe she was found like in the Marsha P. I don't want to spread information. I can always edit that out. Let's see, Wikipedia.
I'm looking at it up right now too.
Death, Johnson suspicious death. It was Johnson. Note at the back of. Yeah, it was discovered floating in the Hudson River.
Oh my God! Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, well, go RuPaul. She's always really relevant and has her finger on the pulse.
Well, but if Ru had seen Marsha P. Johnson drowning,
well, she would have positive.
She would have just prayed for her.
Yeah. I don't even think she prayed for her. I think she just thought positive thoughts. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next weekend every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each and every episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 4. So, for Taylor the Latte Boy and myself,
sashay away until next week.
For listening to RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. You can also leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. Follow us on Twitter at Drag Race Recap. For more access to LGBTQ content, support us over at Patreon at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can follow Taylor the Latte Boy on Twitter and Instagram at PIMCTaylor. Follow Joe Betance on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Betance. This episode was produced by Zach Birch. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.